Hello everybody, welcome to this new weekly segment on my channel where we pull tarot card readings for a weekly love energy tarot card reading. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jane. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Now, I played around with the format a little bit on these readings and I tried individual zodiac readings. Just wasn't really working. So what we're going to do this week is a collective reading for people in relationships. So romantic relationships is going to be the main point of focus, but could be any kind of relationship. And then we also have a collective reading for singles who are looking for romantic relationships. As always, timestamps for each reading is in the description box and the comment thread down below. All right, thanks guys so much for stopping by, and I hope you guys have an amazing week. Hello everybody, welcome to this week's relationship reading for those of you who are in romantic relationships or in established connections. Now, I know this is a very general reading. I know I mentioned in the introduction that I played around with different formats. It's going to be important to keep in mind that you may relate a little bit more to this side or this side, but I'm going to speak to this as this is your energy for the people who are watching, and this is the energy for your other person, okay, or for the person that you have a vested interest in. So let's go ahead and get started here. Your energy, a lot of swords, 5 of swords, 2 of swords, 6 of swords, Queen of swords. It indicates to me that you're trying to make sense of something. You might be overthinking, overanalyzing. There may be an over-anxiousness. You may have a lot of noise in your life right now. Now is absolutely not a good time to get other people involved. Okay, so Scorpio season requires an air of privacy. So this is not a time to go talk to your friends or talk to your parents or talk to whomever. The only person I would recommend talking to would be a therapist or a spiritual healer of some kind who has some sort of agreement of privacy. Okay, so you're trying to make sense of things in your own head, which I don't necessarily know is going to be the best means for you to understand. I think communication is going to be really, really, really important. But I also kind of feel like you might be at a loss for words to some extent. We do have Mercury coming into Scorpio now. There can be a lot of feelings and emotions this week that will take time to fully interpret, that will take time for you to really understand or get your consciousness around it, or to get your logical mind around it in order to grasp what's really happening. The important thing is to remember not to project too much onto your partner and to be in control of your own projections, which I do see that you are with the Queen of Swords. If you don't know exactly what to communicate, what I would communicate is say, hey, I have something kind of stirring, I have something bothering me, I have something on my mind, but I'm not at a place yet where I'm ready to talk about it because I don't fully understand where this is really coming from. I don't understand the trigger that's being triggered. Maybe I'm having a hard time understanding, the base or the root emotion that's trying to come forward. Chances are you are moving away from something, 6 of swords. You are separating from a specific pattern, and a pattern, 5 of swords, that kept you safe for a significant period of time. We tend to, date certain people over and over again. We tend to have the same kind of arguments over and over again, not because they necessarily feel good, but because they are repetitive and it's something that we know and we understand. This is a breakaway energy. You are officially breaking away from something that no longer serves, which is the essence of the whole of 21 and 22. So as you're in this breakaway moment, you can't quite see exactly where you're going, and your own needs might be a little bit difficult to interpret as well, which can make it difficult for two people to really come together. Now, the energy that I'm feeling for your partners, King of Swords reversed, Justice reversed, and the Lovers reversed, I'm sensing a powerlessness here, that your partner is feeling powerless. Now, this could be a powerlessness toward you, toward being able to help you, being able to really be there or to really show up for you, or it could be an element in their own life. They maybe feel powerless financially, powerless within their own careers, or whatever it is that they've got going on. They also, King of Swords reverse. It's interesting that there are so many sword cards coming out. And it's very much about how the mind is working, how the thoughts are dictating so much, and yet there's kind of an emergence of something new, especially with the Fool card on their side. There is an emergence of something new, but it's not yet familiar yet. It's a very unfamiliar terrain, in fact, which means you can't describe it really. You can't understand it. So you're going through it, they're going through it. And the only thing that I'm kind of seeing is you guys coming together and respecting the journey of the other person without judgment. Now, some of you may be having difficulty really connecting with your other person right now. They may feel quite distant. They may feel far away. They may feel detached, disassociated, like there's this nature of them being there, maybe physically, but not necessarily mentally or emotionally. It's important for you to understand that they are going through what I'm going to be calling a power flip within themselves. The way that they used to direct themselves, the way they used to uphold the structures in their life are no longer viable. It's like finding a rotten foundation on a house. And sometimes when you find those kinds of problems, or when you find yourself in that situation, you have to start thinking with a different mind that you just maybe don't even know that you have. You're not only navigating new terrain in the external world, but most definitely within the internal world. I would say that your partners right now may be feeling, I'm not going to say officially lost, because I don't know that, I think that's a little extreme, because we have this card that says stay the course. Each of you seems to be aware that you're heading into something good for yourself, but it is just very uncomfortable. See, the Queen of Swords is very, she's real capable of staying neutral and not freaking out because she's in some kind of a new space, right? She just has this capacity to look at what's happening, to observe what's happening, and to move forward in a very neutral, balanced kind of way. In the same regard over here, there's definitely a lot of topsy-turviness here. The power flip is happening. Could be confusing, but the Fool embraces that and says, okay, I'm going to embrace this strange, unknown, completely uncharted territory. I'm going to go into it. I'm going to go after it. And if I need to get a little imbalanced right now, then so be it. Now, unfortunately, you may be the kind of consequence, the relationship, the closeness of the relationship may be the consequence of that other person's desire to embrace their whole new journey. So it is so critical to simply love. And I love that this card came out, because it is a very respectful energy to give to one another right now. To simply love them, to love their journey, and hopefully they can reciprocate that love as well. This is going to be an obvious moment of how different you each are, how different your paths are, how different your epiphanies are going to be. Because from what I can see, you're both experiencing a lot of wonderful, mind-opening, mind-bending, consciousness-challenging moments. But it's your own brand of that. Your own style of that. You're going to be having different epiphanies than your partner is going to be having. So to remember to stay connected. Now, I also pulled out the sexual magic card, and we also have this get creative card, which I actually really like because it's playful. Like two people out in the forest just having a good time, like just can't keep their hands off of each other. so much so he can't even like fully get his pants down yet, right? Like he's just so ready to go, and she is just so ready to go. There is this component of magnetism. And what I think is kind of interesting is how it's like what I'm sensing is that there's a newness emerging from within each of you. And it's sort of renewing, as is the essence of Scorpio season. It's kind of renewing that attraction, or it has the potential. I'm not saying it definitely will. I'm saying it has the potential to renew the attraction, because it's kind of like two totally new people getting to know one another again. And I think treating it that way, like treating yourself as though you are a new person and treating them as though they are a new person, could actually enhance deep conversation. Because if you treat them as a new person, it's like you get to go out on your first date again. You get to go out and have those deep conversations about your life goals and your ambitions, because it's different now. Things are different. They are different. You are different. And I know that you can perceive that. I know you can feel that. They can feel it. They can perceive it. And I think right now your partner, especially, I'm going to focus a little bit more on the partnership energy, because they've got a whole bunch of major arcana going on over here. You have a lot of sword cards, which has to do with the way you think. But I think they have a lot of life milestones going on. They're having big, mind-bending realizations, which I said at the beginning through my November readings, that it's going to be very difficult for someone to get through Scorpio season and not have a massive realization. So this person is definitely having realizations for sure. And because of this, it may be really hard for them to feel truly connected to you, right? Lovers reverse. They might not know how to really give in this moment. They don't know maybe what you need. They may be having a difficult time really meeting those needs, which may create that feeling of distance. But it's not actual distance, and I don't think it's a threat to the future of the relationship in any way, shape, or form. I think it's just a moment of personal growth, and we have to give people space and freedom to go through that and to treat it as though there is a new life emerging. Communications might be something like, hey, like I said before, like I'm just going through something. I'm not quite sure how to interpret it. Like I said with you, I just maybe need a little bit of space to do it, but I also don't want you to go anywhere. Now, this is not selfish, breadcrumbing, narcissistic, toxic person behavior, all right? This is more from a place of respect. Hopefully it's a place of respect. Now, some of you may be having difficulties with a relationship, and this is going to prove, it's going to really expose a lot of things too. If this person is not showing respect towards you, then that's a totally different issue. If they are not able to simply love you and you are not able to simply love them, if there are all sorts of conditions and expectations that are not being met right now, then it might be a time where you may decide to go your own separate ways. But if you can go through these separate experiences with an air of respect for each other's separate experiences, then actually it will bring you so much closer together. Because when I see this 10 of Wands, I almost feel like this is a Sagittarius card, actually. The 10 of Wands, the numbers 8, 9, and 10 in the numbered cards are associated with the mutable sign of that element. So the mutable fire, which is the Wands, is the Sagittarius nature. So when we think of Sagittarius, we do think of playfulness, adventurousness. We think of fun and pushing the limits, pushing the boundaries. We definitely think of creativity here. So there is a component of sexual connection, now during Scorpio season, I think coming together consciously in sexual contact, I mean, this is going to be year round, not just Scorpio season, but especially in Scorpio season, the consciousness is going to be so much more important, because if you come together in solely a physical way, it may feel emptier afterwards. And it may feel a lot more dissatisfying than if you were to come together consciously. Very big difference. This is not about physical gratification so much as it is about emotional and spiritual gratification. And I have a sneaking suspicion that love making at this particular moment in time can actually spur on a whole heck of a lot of creativity in every other area of your life. We're not just talking about sex. We're talking about your career and your financials and your children and your relationship with your parents and your friends. Every other area can be positively affected by this union. Because what I'm sensing is each of you instilling a new air of confidence within each other. Because when you are allowed to go through what you need to go through and to feel what you need to feel and to have the realizations that you need to have, when you are allowed to do that, when you are safe to do that, everything else becomes conquerable. It becomes attainable. Because you get to be you. Hopefully, your partners are not upset. Now, some of you may have some lower consciousness. They're not as evolved. They're not as self-aware. A lack of self-awareness is going to be ridiculously obvious right now. There will be blaming. There will be pointing of fingers. There will be elements of defeat. There will be confusion, and there will definitely be projection. If you find either yourself or your partner projecting, then likely this creative energy is just going to act as an artificial band-aid or a superficial band-aid for something that's much deeper. See, this creative, fun, sexual union here has the potential to be life-changing. To bring new birth, to bring new life into so much. But if it is a cover-up, a means for you to just connect as kind of like a grasping mechanism, right? You're grasping for connection. I don't know how successful that it's going to be. Communication may be difficult, but it is also necessary in order for you to understand what's really going on with your other person, both ways. Communication is going to be essential also to help you understand what you are going through. I feel like talking is a big part of this emergence. This is not about keeping your voice suppressed, right? Because all the air energy, I'm kind of leaning toward a Gemini quality. We do have the North Node in Gemini in the second degree of Gemini, which is a Mercury-ruled decan, or decan. I say decan. We have to say things. We have to talk. We have to use our voice. For you, that will be healing. So we have a lot of air here as well. Actually, now that I'm realizing it, we have a King of Swords, we have a Justice, and we have a Lovers. We have Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini here. So actually, now that I just realized that. So now that we're here, think of the air qualities. Talking, thinking, connecting the dots, revolutionizing things. A little bit of chaos, but it's okay. Okay? There's a little bit of chaos, but it's okay. This is the chaos. And this is what's so beautiful about this, actually. This is creative chaos. Just boom. And again, it can be so magnetic. It can be so powerful and so beautiful if you allow it to be. But it can be destructive if you don't know what you're doing with it. I like this stay the course card because it makes me feel better about the way it's going, right? Because it means like, just keep going. You're going to make it through. It's going to be great. There will be a beautiful connection. There will be good conversation. There will be, future benefit to keep doing it the way you're doing it, to keep listening to yourself in the way that you are listening to yourself. Now, some of you, again, who are in relationships with people who are a little lesser in self-awareness, not that it's a comparison thing, but they don't have a lot of self-awareness, it may be very difficult for them to simply love you because the expectations of you will be too much for you at this time. I don't know that either one of you can really bring a whole lot to the table right now. You kind of have to go through this process of just being a support for each other, but that's really all you can each do. You can just support, but you can't go through the process for the other person. You have to sit back and watch them go through it. They have to sit back and watch you go through it. You can hold hands through the whole thing, but you each are going through different experiences right now. Some couples get torn apart by this because they don't understand what's going on. This is a highly personalized experience. This is where you can come together. This is where the bonds are reinforced. Okay? Let's pull out just a couple more cards. I don't know which ones to pull out. We'll just do my regular ones, I guess, just to kind of finish this off. We'll do a moonology here. Confidence is your key to success. That's what this creative energy really is. It's about confidence. Now, what's interesting about this, okay, let's talk about astrology for a second. We have Taurus energy pulling on Scorpio energy with Uranus opposition with the new moon in a square with Aquarius, Saturn, Jupiter. Leo is like the release point. It's like what gives release to the tension that's going on. So focusing on your creative, now Leo is a highly sexual energy, right? Kind of like Scorpio. There's a lot of sexual energy that comes through here because it's creative and it has to do with children, the actual creation of life. So please, enjoy your sexuality, enjoy your sensuality, enjoy what it does for you, enjoy how it makes you feel. Confidence can be planted by each other. They can implant confidence within you and you can do it for them. And in a way, that's what's needed. Because that's how you can show your support. That's how you can be supportive, by being each other's cheerleaders, by being each other's, ride or die. And by honoring and respecting their path. And it's not a threat. Their path is not a threat to yours, just as yours is not a threat to them. Through knowing that, perhaps confidence can grow. All right, we'll do one more from my Earth Magic deck. Completion. Full moon. Well, we are in a waxing motion right now. So we just had a new moon. So we are a waxing moon building up to a quarter moon this week. There does seem to be a completion of something from the past. I feel like the past few years, there has been a lot of stagnation. Like we've been wanting to get up and go and wanting to create all this stuff and wanting to push forward and pedal to the metal. And I'm not saying that all of you experienced stagnation, but many of you did, because you didn't know who you were becoming and the desires hadn't made themselves truly known yet. But we are coming to an end of that stagnant cycle, that stagnant moment in time. Truth for ourselves on an individual scale came out full force in 2020 with Jupiter conjunct Pluto. And truth is going to be a continued theme as we make our way into 2022 with the Venus retrograde against Pluto. So you are not going to be able to escape your truth. This is the end of lying to yourself. This is the end of self-hypocrisy. This is the end of, pretending that something makes you happy when it doesn't. There is a forced authenticity, and the more and more authentic each of you become, the closer you can be, and the more you can do with that closeness as a stable structure of, like, there's joy and stability in that can really blossom in so many new areas of your life. Okay? All right, you guys, I'm going to leave you guys with that. I hope this was somewhat beneficial for you. You guys know I love you. I wish you nothing but the best. Have an amazing week. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. This is the reading for the single people out there who are looking for relationships. All right. You can watch this if you're in a relationship too, just to kind of get a different perspective on things. But this is for people who are actually open and ready and wanting a deeper connection with somebody. Now, what I've done here is I've pulled out 4 cards similar to the relationship reading that represents kind of you and what you need to know for yourself. And then we have kind of, instead of doing 4 cards over here, I just pulled out 2, which has to do with your sort of interaction with the external world, what to pay attention to, what you need to know about other people, and what to be aware of, okay? So I want to start over here because I'm with so we have the Page of Swords reversed, the Sun reversed, the Magician reversed, and the Ace of Cups. Now, something is really bubbling up inside of you right now. There's a yearning, there's a love, there's a wanting to share something with the world, all right? Wanting to share something with somebody. So I feel that you do have a readiness for love, which is great because I think that sometimes, I don't know, like, how many times have you met someone who was great, but it just was kind of like not the right time because you were still like trying to get over somebody else, or you were still working through an issue that you had, or you were trying to still rebuild something. So I feel that you're in a space of being very ready. And it's not to say that anyone that comes along, you're going to be like, okay, that's the one. Obviously not. But there's still like this acceptance. Whereas you may have been closed off before, now you are a lot more open. So you'll be willing to really give love a lot more easily. But there's still some kind of suppression going on. Sun reversed with the Magician reversed. There's something that is just wanting to come out. There's a love, there's a creative energy that is just like, oh my gosh, let me out, let me out, let me out. And I just have to tell you that it doesn't have to come out only in a relationship, that there are other ways for this energy to really come out. It can come out with your hobbies, with your creative stuff that you do, your painting, your singing, your music, your whatever. It can come out with your career, with focusing on your financials, with cleaning up your house. Like there are so many different ways that this can come out. And I feel that channeling that in ways that are within your control is going to be really, really healthy to help align yourself a little bit more. Because if you sit on this, it's like a river that is flowing, but it wants to keep flowing, but you put up some kind of a dam. Well, then you're going to build a lake, and it's going to be this energetic reserve, this energetic pooling or build up. It's not going to be healthy. It's not going to flow, and it may manifest itself in ways that are not beneficial for you. So work on the things you love. Work on the things that make you shine, that make you feel happy, that make you feel proud. You don't have to think about this so much, Page of Swords. There's not a lot of strategy for you right now. There's not a lot of like, okay, well, if I do this, then I get to do this. If I go out here, then maybe I can meet somebody. There's no desperation here at all. There's just a beingness. And I actually love that the sun is being represented twice, because it's just like, regardless of whether you have a partner or not, there is something beautiful and divinely inspired inside of you that the world desperately needs. And I even like this card here that says, their higher self speaks to you through music. And the creative component and the connection with music, with creativity, is really strong right now, because especially the sun is in the second decan, right? It's sitting today at 13 degrees, 23 minutes of Scorpio, which is ruled by Pisces, ruled by Neptune, which is intrinsically connected through music. There will be messages received through music, whether it's an inspirational feeling, whether it's a motivational something that kind of helps get you moving in some kind of a right direction. I just see you living your life fully, embracing moments, embracing your passions. I don't see you, I don't even really see you like sitting and watching Netflix ever, or watching TV ever, or, I see you improving in some way. I see you taking the time that you would have dedicated to like Netflix, like those couple hours at night or whatever. You would have taken that time and relaxed, but now you're wanting to open yourself up, because this gets so full sometimes. It's just like you can't help it. So you create. And you don't have a plan, you don't have a strategy. Something inside of you is escaping. Now, what I'm sensing over here is that your potential other person is trying to get their chariot moving somehow. They may have spent some time getting themselves back to an equilibrium point. Maybe they were healing, maybe they were suffering, maybe they were dealing with something financially and they were working on recovery. Maybe their confidence was shot because of something like that. Maybe they were not really focusing on ways to make their lives better because they were focused on, taking care of a parent who was ill or something like that. So I feel like there is this process going on for them of reaching an equilibrium, of reaching a balance within their life. Their chariot isn't moving forward yet. I feel like your chariot is moving as long as you're not suppressing your creative energy right now. Like, don't deny the things you want. I know that in spirituality, there is something to desirelessness, and I get that, but it's really not for most of us. It's almost impossible to escape desire, okay? Because you're always going to want to breathe, right? You're always going to want to keep your heart beating, right? So desire is something that you can't really escape. So when you indulge in allowing the desire, and that's something that has been a theme for the past few months, is allowing yourself to indulge in the things that you want, because so often we resist what we want because we think, oh, it's so hard, or it's not realistic, or I don't deserve it, or da 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 da. We don't think it's possible for us. It's too far-fetched, so we just sort of what's the word? Submiss it? Is that the word? Submiss? I don't even think that's a word. Dismiss it. Oh my gosh. I can't even believe we just dismiss it. This is how my brain works when I'm channeling. Like, it's so hard for me to channel sometimes to get things into language. But your chariot is moving. You are indulging, you are going with it, you are feeling inspired, feeling divinely connected. This person, I think, is just starting to work on their connection. The word hints is coming to my mind right now, that you might be receiving hints about what they're going through music a little bit. Now, this card came out for the relationship energy as well, which says stay the course, which means I like what you're doing right now. I think you are aligned. As your future person gets more on their feet, gets more collected, they've regrouped, right? Once they've regrouped, this person will likely be introduced into your life, because what's happening is, even though this Chariot is reversed, this Chariot is still moving toward you. Slowly, probably not racing toward you, but it is still moving towards you. You are going to continue elevating. This person is going to continue to reach you. Eventually, there will be a junction. These paths will intersect, and this is where you will meet. I honestly think that what they've been going through was essential because they needed to be somebody that you respect. Right? People need to go through hardships. People need to learn lessons. People need to go through pain in order for other people to really respect what they accomplish. Because if everything is handed to somebody and everything is easy for someone and they have all the stuff, how can you possibly respect them because they didn't do the whole blood, sweat, and tears thing, right? That's just kind of how it works. It's like that person is more deserving almost because of what they went through. Not to say you couldn't also earn respect the other way. I'm just using that as a visual, This person needed to be the type of person that you would respect. Same for you. And I think this person will respect you a lot because I sense that they're going to feel that you are more free-spirited, you are more elevated, you are more free in a general sense, in a psychological sense than they ever could be. And you kind of seem to be taking leadership here in terms of showing them how to free themselves. I'm actually kind of sensing, now that I'm kind of deeper into this reading, I'm kind of sensing that there is energetic communication going on, which is why the music seems to be a physical manifestation of the metaphysical communication that's already happening. You two are already resonating with each other's energy, whether you probably don't even know who this person is. But there's already that connection there. And each end of the line is vibrating. Each end of the line is buzzing as you progress more. I'm going to kind of say that this person is going to be more sucked into your energy more than the other way around, because you are just so in your sun, shiny, creative stuff. Like people who are here, they don't need to traverse, right? They're just in their presence. And when you are in your presence, the way the sun is very much in its presence, or even we could go even further than that and talk about the black hole within the center of the galaxy, right? The black hole is in its presence and everything else revolves around it. The sun is there in the solar system. Everything else revolves around it. Which is why this person is being magnetically pulled toward you. That's why it's important for you to do your thing. It's important for you to do creative stuff. It's important for you to feel passionate about what you're doing. When I say passionate, I don't necessarily mean that you have to be like chemicals inside your body are on full alert all the time. That's not necessarily what I mean. It's just something that brings you joy, something that brings you peace even. Now, the last card I haven't talked about is the sexual magic card, which is the Lovers. Now, whenever the Lovers comes out, I designed a deck once, and for the Lovers card, I put the image of the yin-yang. And I often, whenever the Lovers comes out, I always see the yin-yang. There's a little bit of light within the dark. There's a little bit of dark within the light. And there's balance, and there's unity, and there's unification here. And there is I'm hesitant to even say it, a divine match, let's call it that. I don't want to say like soulmate or twin flame, because a lot of people take those like kind of out of context. And I don't really like to peddle that brand, but there is a divine match quality. There's a complementary nature happening here. You are in the process of your own internal yin yang, your own internal balance. So are they, 6 of coins. And when two people who are balanced meet, it creates a bigger balanced force. The Lovers is a beautiful card of unity. There's also an element of choice here as well, in its most base form. A choice between who you are, who you want to be. Choice between what you deal with, what you put up with, what you allow. The more and more you choose your own divinity, the more and more you choose your own heart's desires, the more likely this person will be to be someone that is already running parallel to what your heart desires. I feel like there should be no sense of urgency for you guys at this point. You don't have to do anything other than what you are feeling inspired to do. That is where the magic happens with the magician. This person is on its way to you. Now, I'm not going to make guarantees that it's going to happen like this week or this month or even this year, or even maybe not even next year, right? Please don't put time frames on this, because the universe does not operate according to your ego human mind time frame. It's not what this is. And Venus making her way into Capricorn, where she's going to be doing her retrograde, she's going to be here for like 4 months, 5 months, till March, really, of next year. So she's going to be here for a while. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which means time frames are stretched out. So don't worry about watching the clock. Don't worry about when or how. The how is your passion. The how is your inspiration. It is a meant to be, quote unquote, type of connection that is not aligned with past toxic patterns. Let's make very clear about that. It's not aligned to past toxic patterns. It's different. It's different because it has to be different. Okay? Now let's pull out a couple of remaining oracle cards. I'm just going to use my Moonology deck here. A new romantic cycle begins. Well, there you go. Exactly. It's a new cycle, meaning it's a whole new set of patterns. Hopefully good ones, because you have the element of choice here, conscious choice. You have the element of conscious choice. A new romantic cycle begins. Allow it to be new and allow it to begin in its own time, because it's not beginning from trauma. It's beginning from healing. That's what makes it new. That's what makes it different. Okay, and we have power, lightning power. Well, Uranus is involved this week with the new moon yesterday, so that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, there is a lot of power to this moment. There's a lot of power to the choices that you make, to the way you dedicate your time. Okay, there's a lot of power there. So don't think that it's just, you doing a hobby. It's more than that. It's an energetic thing. All right, you may just on the surface see something so small in terms of what it is, but the impact of that is so grand. All right, take things seriously. You can have fun for sure. Please have fun. All right, but let yourself shine. Let yourself sparkle. Let yourself indulge in the good feelings of the energy. Okay? All right, you guys. You guys know I love you. I wish you nothing but the best. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.